Well, my bad, bitch.
I'm pretty than a motherfucker. Hoes be looking okay. She think that she fucking with me. Is this bitch okay? He said he ain't fucking around. I look at him like, okay. I used to be
High volume, high volume.
Hey guys, welcome back to JusBtv. My name is Brittany. We talk about all things beauty, fashion, pretty much everything I love to do. I teach you how to do it. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're old, welcome back. So the girlies have been asking for a traditional sew-in with leave out, and this is basically that video. It's going to be very detailed because I feel like the more detailed, the easier it's going to be for you to do it on yourself. So I'm starting off with blow drying hair. It is thoroughly washed, super conditioned, not super moisturized because we're going to go in and put some oil in after. So I'm going to create my center part, and then I'm going to make sure I leave enough hair around my part area, which is the left side, the right side, and then a little bit of the back. I like to put my comb up under my hair just to make sure that it's not see-through. But my hair looks really thick, but when I flat iron it, it actually is thinner, so I'm leaving a good amount out for my leave out. It's important that you test this out because I feel like it looks the most natural when you have enough leave out. But you also don't want to leave too much out if your hair is like natural, because it can easily revert and then it won't look as seamless as you want it to look. So after you've decided how much hair you want to leave out, you want to put that in a ponytail and keep that out of the way because that's going to be the last part. So after that, you're going to part out your baby hairs. I do not like braiding my edges because I definitely want to keep those. As you can see, I have really fine edges. So I want to leave that part out. And I know it looks like my hair is kind of thin. It's just naturally like that because I have really fine baby hairs. So I definitely leave that part out. So after you do that, you're going to actually braid a cornrow around the part on both sides. And I don't show that, but you're going to see what that braid looks like. And you're going to add that on both sides. Then you're going to do small cornrows going straight down, connecting each one at the end. So I like to make sure that they are really small from the edges because that creates the most natural look. If they're too big, then they don't look that natural to me. And then also I feel like the smaller the braids, the longer the weave lasts. Now, I'm not a person that leaves my weave in for 2 months, but I do like it to last. And because my hair is so fine, it's so silky, sometimes it gets loose really quick. So the smaller my braids are, the better my hair holds. So you're pretty much going to do that same cornrow technique all the way around your hair, making sure you do like a back anchor braid for your perimeter. So you're not going to go all the way down to the bottom. And you'll see in the next clip what I'm talking about. But you're going to pretty much do these cornrows going straight down from that part all the way around to the other side. Now, as you can see, all the braids are connected at the bottom. So when I did one braid, I did the next one and I used that tail and added it to that one. And I just kept on going all the way around till I had one single braid left. And then I do have that bottom base braid, which is for security when I add my net. And it just allows me to put a track all the way at the bottom. So you're going to take a C needle and nylon thread. And you're just going to stitch those braids down because when you fold them over, they're going to be a little bit lifted. And we want this to be as flat as possible. So you're going to go in and you're going to sew that down flat. Now, don't pull your thread too hard because you don't want to add too much tension. Because you're already going to have so much tension when you put the net on and the weave. So you don't want to add too much tension with this part. This is solely to make sure that it is flat. And then you're going to go in and take that tail and you're going to stitch that in between the braids as well. Once that is completely flat, you're going to tie off your thread. And then we're going to add some anti-shed oil from Mielle. I like this one the best when I'm doing sew-ins because it just makes my hair moisturized and it stops my hair from shedding so much. We all know that sew-ins, you can lose a lot of hair. So protecting your hair is so important. This is my go-to when it comes to doing sew-ins. After you apply the oil, that is your finished foundation. If you can get this foundation right, everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. So we're going to move on to the next part, which is a weaving net. Not a weaving cap, a weaving net. So when you go to the beauty supply, look for a weaving net. I like the non-stretchable ones because I feel like when you use the stretchable ones, your hair gets looser faster. This just keeps it all together. So again, we're going to use that same C needle and nylon thread. When you go to the beauty supply, ask for nylon thread. And you're going to start stitching that net on. The purpose of using a net is to allow you to stitch the tracks on parts of your hair that doesn't have hair. So it just allows you to be able to have a seamless way of sewing tracks on your head instead of like skipping from braid, scalp, braid. It just gives you like a flatter foundation. So I like to start at my left temple and I like to go all the way down to the corner of my ear. Then I move on to the other side and do the same thing. So I switch back and forth. I don't just start from one end. I just find that if I start on one side and then mirror it on the other side, it just turns out even. One thing I can say that I think is really valuable when it comes to doing a sew and weave is when you're pulling this thread, do not pull it tight because you can cut your hair with this thread. This thread is very, very stiff, and pulling it too tight can actually cut through your hair because your hair is not wet. It is dry, and the dryness mixed with the thread can actually create more shedding and breakage with your hair. So do it snug, but do not pull too tight. Go all the way around to the back of your ear on both sides and then tie it off with a 2-strand knot. So once you get to the back of the head, you're going to have an extra amount of net there. So what I like to do is just like fold it under and pull it down and sew it underneath that very bottom anchor braid. And it doesn't matter if it's clumped up because once you pull it down and tuck it under, it's going to be flat at the top, and that's the most important part. It's okay to have a little bit of bunchiness underneath the back because that part actually needs a little bit more security. Once you've securely sewed that down and gotten to the other side behind the ear, you're going to tie that off, and then you're going to cut off the excess net. And you're just going to cut underneath that place where you stitched it down flat. Again, take your time so you do not cut your fingers or cut your hair. You're going to cut all the way around till you get to the very, very top. And then you're going to stitch the net down around the perimeter of your leave out. So you're going to use those anchor braids as a means to stitch that net down to the top. The reason why I do this part last is because the net can shift, and I don't want it to shift while those are braided because it'll end up pulling on those, and I want those to stay right where they are. So I do that part last. It just allows it to be straight and flat, and it also protects my hair underneath. So we're going in with A-Shine bundles. I actually got this hair on TikTok, and I promise you this is like some of the best hair I've ever used. I have 3 bundles of 28, 26, and 24. So this is going to be a long bust down, and 1B is the color. And I start in the back by using the longest length, which is the 28 inches, and this is going to be double tracked. So I put both tracks together, and then I stitch it along the bottom edge of my hair, and I go all the way up until that bundle is done. Then when I move on to the next bundle, which is the next longest length, which is 26, that is going to be single tracked. So what I like to do is just go under the track, tie it in a knot, pull it through, and then go all the way up from right to left, all the way up till you get to the very, very top. Now keep in mind, I am not going through these tracks, I'm going under the track. Now I move on to the very top. I skipped all that other part because it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm moving to the very, very top track because I think that needs a little bit more detail. So that is a single track, and I do that separate. That is not connected. Now the rest of the tracks I fold over. I do not cut any of the tracks, but I do have one single cut track for this top one. I feel like this is the most important to leave for the leave out. So I go in and I start from my left temple, and I make sure that those needle and thread stitches are close together because I want that to be as flat as possible. So I go under, and I don't do it as haphazard as I do the back. I actually take my time. Once I get to the other side of my head, I then tie that needle and thread into a knot, and then I cut off the excess piece of track. Now, believe it or not, that's the end of the hard part. Now, all you have to do is flat iron your hair. I like to use a Heat Protectant, of course, in a flat iron by Bliss Pro, and it just gets my hair the straightest. And I use my Heat Protectant, I brush that down, I do it piece by piece, and I flat iron my hair. Now, this is the easiest way to get a super flat, very clean, natural bust down weave down the middle. I don't like to use too much hair, but I do use a good amount because this hair is a little bit on the finer side, so it looks more natural when you use a good amount of hair. But if you have really thick hair, then I would suggest you not to use a lot, because I feel like the more hair you put on your head, the less natural it looks. So after I flat iron it all, this hair could either be wavy or straight, which is why I love this hair, because you don't really have to do much for it to look pretty. And that's pretty much it, how you do a flat, natural sew-in by yourself. Now, if you like this video and you found it valuable, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and then leave any comment below of any questions that I did not answer. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.